Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev. Good day.
Good day.
You
How
go
are things?
first.
Me first? You're gonna
You
put it
go
right in my
first.
gosh. Well, I guess I could speak to a lot of things. I've recently gone through some changes. I don't know exactly how it transpired, but recognizing in the mind, at first I was saying, "Oh, that's me. That's me talking." So to create discernment, that's my conversation versus the receiving of the real information. And then I even kind of separated more from it and called it patterns. It's just patterns. These are patterns that I'm familiar with. And it doesn't mean that they're true and accurate. It just means that's my template. That's the only patterns that I'm familiar with in order to create other patterns. But it totally like disables the thoughts when I just acknowledge it like it's a pattern. So with all that being said, I'm noticing that I don't have an attachment to outcomes for a lot of things anymore that I was having before, and I find it fascinating. It feels very freeing. A lot of weight has been taken off my shoulder. I feel like my energy was bottlenecking and it wasn't being able to go anywhere very fast. And now all of a sudden there's a flow. Like I feel like the floodgates are going to be they're open now. And now I'm just going to wait and see how that shows up. Even to the point where I went to a baby shower yesterday and ended up winning a diaper raffle that I didn't plan on, and it was a pretty substantial gift card that I won on that. I was like, holy smokes, like that's freaking awesome. But wasn't expecting it. I wasn't even paying attention to it. I was just noticing energies and stuff while I'm at this party because we were sitting together, Freeman and I, and we were noticing. I felt like all this dizziness or this weird feeling in my head area, and it's like we were kind of like breaking it down and looking around and noticing how everyone's like in these spaces and they're not. It's very superficial, and then it's like then you could feel when it transitioned to some other energy. So that's been fun. Been playing with that kind of stuff, even to the point of if I think about somebody, I'll think about them. I'll think about my niece. I'll think about my niece, and then she sends me a message. So I know she's paying attention to her intuition. I'm getting ready to send someone else a message, and I tell them, I'm like, good job paying attention to your intuition. And then I'm doing it with someone else. I'm doing all this little playing and stuff because this stuff is it's very easy, and it's just showing up, and there's the synchronicities are showing up, confirmations are showing up. It's been kind of fun.
Yeah, hot girl. All the things you're just saying. I could go multiple directions with this, but things showing up quickly, absolutely happening. In fact, my uh, one of my people that I spend a lot of time with every day, she was thinking how she's like, this is so bizarre. She goes, I was this morning, not today, but the other day, this morning was thinking about how I needed to pick up bananas for the house. And then we're at the office and somebody walks in with a bundle of bananas. Things like that are happening all the freaking time. The other day, I swear to you, I have glimpses of what I call deja vu. To me, deja vu is that something is happening, but I know like I've done it before, like I've already done this. So to me, that's a deja vu. Almost the entire day felt that way. Almost every conversation, almost everything I did, I'm like, I have done all of this already. It was such a weird day because one thing after another felt like that. Um, People just showing up right after you think about them or talk about them or and there are certain people's in our community that cause us grief, um, so to speak. Let's just say they make things difficult. So um
Resistance, right? Yeah.
and every once in a while their name will come up in conversation and I will immediately I'm like stop talking about them, just stop, end of conversation, don't mention their name, don't give them the time and energy. Like I'm like no, because in the past every time that one person's name comes up, guaranteed within 24 hours something goes sideways with them. And I'm like, you guys have to stop making this person a topic of conversation. You just, and in that is, it doesn't matter if it pertains to that person or anybody else. When you are talking about somebody in a negative way, that's what you're focused on in that moment. So guess what? They're going to live up to your expectations and something's going to pop up with them involved with it that's going to cause discord. Guaranteed happens more times than I can count. And so, yeah, let's talk about and focus more on the things that we want and manifest that instead because it's a lot more fun. On another note, what you're talking about is like patterns and expectations and things like that. I have a very heavy, interesting, fun, huge responsibility at work. And one of the patterns, and it's funny you said patterns to start out with, uh, is me feeling inconvenienced. And yesterday was Saturday, and I worked for 6 hours because of this project. I went to work on this project. And in communicating with people about this project. And I was like, not like angrily, but in frustration, just pick up my phone, send a text, and like toss it down a little more aggressive than I would usually because I was just like, fuck, you guys, come on. I was getting super frustrated and irritated. And yes, every time I start feeling those heavy emotions like that, I will take the time to kind of dissect, analyze, review where is this really coming up from? What is this really actually triggering? And it it's one of those patterns or subconscious programmings that when I was younger, I had a stepdad who was a complete jerk, mentally, emotionally abusive, just it wasn't physical. However, it doesn't negate the abuse that my mom and I did endure from him. And there was this one particular time when he told me to do my chores and clean up the living room, and he's very abrupt and aggressive in his tone and stuff. And I started to do what he told me to do. And then everything I touched, he's like, no, just leave that there. And then I go to pick up something. No, leave that there too. Don't touch that. And then I go to pick, and it was like that over and over. And I lost, I'm talking 9 years old. I lost my shit, man. I was pissed. Like, I threw the F bomb at 9 years old because I was that mad. I won't tell you what happened after. And there was no abuse that happened after that, but there's stuff that happened after that. But that memory came up for me. I'm like, yeah, when I'm feeling inconvenienced by other people like that, it stirs that up in me, and I start to push that edge of starting to feel angry about it. I've reached frustration and irritation, which is super good. There's still more work to be done within myself. But going along with patterns, patterns will keep, as long as it's stored in our body, will keep showing up. And when we recognize that and take the time to do whatever healing modalities that it takes for us to release that or soothe it or bring love and compassion to it, then yeah, then you start to feel that sense of freedom. It's no longer controlling or consuming us. And then you also get to that point, like I will get to the point with this project where I don't have any expectations anymore. Like right now, I have expectations. People are going to follow the rules. They're going to let us know what they need in a timely manner so that we can, prepare and plan and do our part in a organized way. Like This is my thought process. And then things go sideways. Somebody throws a wrench in the, just makes it all wonky and it's just super frustrating. And that's all on me. And remembering that things happen for a reason. And maybe it's going to turn out because this happened, because people are being inconveniencing me. But however, it could turn out better than expected the way I wanted it to be done. Right. So there's different modalities to that space of no expectations and freedom, because of what we already have stored within our brain, our body, our subconscious mind, that we have to unwind. We have to unwind it. We have to reprogram it. We have to be flexible, learn to see things differently, learn to go with the flow, learn to be be more mindful of how we show up with our own emotions and our own thought processes. So there's just so many components to us that we would love to say it's a one and done, but it's not, because this story I just told you about my stepdad has many layers to it. And every once in a while it pops up and there's still more clearing and cleansing and healing to be done around it. So um yeah, that's so much around that.
Nice. And then it goes to the being a master creator, right? Recognizing how we can play with it. If we think about whoever we want to think about, like you were saying, am I thinking about that person in fondness or am I thinking about that person in angst? And it's like recognizing how do you feel? Well, if you're feeling angst, probably don't think about that person so much. Maybe send them some love at that point, and maybe send yourself some love at that point. But there's pretty much not much more I think that needs to be done at that point. Just being aware of what feels good and doesn't feel good. I have an interesting little story. One of my clients, she was trying to find those little telescoping wands or whatever that have like magnet on the end of it so you can pick something up. Well, she couldn't find hers and she knew she had it. So she sat there and she kept envisioning it and she's like noticing it, whatever. Well, she ends up remembering it, finds it. Then the next day, someone's walking by. She sees a man out in a dressed nice, and she thought someone was going to come solicit at her front door, walking their dog. And he comes up to the front door and he says, "Hey, I found this in your front yard." And she said it was exactly what she saw, like within less than 24 hours later. So the manifestation, how we can create it. She said, I just sat there and I just thought about it, and I could visually see it in mind's eye, the whole thing. And I said, that's how fast we can create. That's us being master creators. Now it's mastering that information that you just supplied, and like, what else do you want to create? But a lot of times I think we get into these tendencies of getting wrapped up in our environments or our patterns, and we can stay there for a long time and it doesn't feel good. And I yes, you're right, there are layers to it. There are so many layers to it, and each time you get through those layers you get more freedom, but and it gets less and less and less, like it gets less heavy. It doesn't feel so heavy as we're walking through it. And I've been asking questions of, in myself, like, where did that come from? That come from my mom or my dad? Like, why is that there? Is it what? So I'm looking at patterns. I'm looking at a lot of that stuff because I don't want something, I don't want to feel like I'm controlling myself or trying to motivate myself in a different way from patterns. So it's like really looking at a lot of the things and really just wanting to feel good. I don't want to, if I start noticing I'm doing that, walking down that path, I'm like, no, no, this doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel good. Why am I putting myself in a place that doesn't feel good? Why am I trying to make myself feel these things that don't feel good? Who freaking cares about that? I mean, I don't in my mind, because it's like I've been going through this process probably a big majority of my whole life with my mind talking, saying all kinds of things, but now I'm in such an awareness of it. Occasionally it can get a little bit wonky, but it's like I can reel it back in a lot faster. I can recognize it. Sometimes I might have to throw a temper tantrum in my privacy of my own head, but it happens. And then burning of papers happens again right after that. So, because I don't want to, I want to feel good. And there's no reason. I think we've been trained to, think that we have to be a certain way or feel a certain way about things. And I don't think that's true. It's not, all it was is patterns that we watched around us from other people, how they managed things or how did they feel. And with this whole conversation, it's all intuition. We were feeling all this intuitive stuff since children. We've always felt it since a baby, since we were before we were even born. We've always felt it, but we've learned how to ignore it. We've learned how to ignore those feelings, ignore that we're master creators, but we're still creating. We just may not be creating the things we want.
Yeah, it's all true. I just as you were talking and I was thinking about even you saying, but the people around us, we've had these conversations lots and lots of times, and it can feel like a roller coaster that um, things are going really well, but then something catches your attention that, like the irritation and frustration that I've been experiencing lately, and then your world seems to shift and nothing seems to go right. Well, it took that one thing to get your attention and focus on it, and then it affects your energy, affects everything else in line with that. And people will frustrate you, people will cut you off in traffic, people will um, even maybe your finances get, you know, take a hit it, until, and then you want to blame all the other people or all the situations instead of recognizing and remembering that you're the master creator and that you have the ability to shift that energy and change your direction of focus and then and then things seem to just magically all go well, and you get gifts, you get unexpected gift cards, you get right.
It's true.
So we do want to take the time to blame other people for our mishaps, but really it's well, I've been in irritation and frustration for a couple weeks now, and nothing seems to be going right. And people are irritating the fuck out of me. And like, right? So this is if this is my focus, then it affects everything else around me. And it just seems like nothing is going well. When in fact, if I sat with it, my life is like 100 times better than it was when I was younger. And then we now we lean into gratitude, which is a whole nother conversation. And so it's like you're really taking the time to take an internal analysis of yourself of what are you thinking about, how are you feeling, how are you perceiving things, and going down the list of how am I showing up in my life and how is it affecting my world. um and if you listen to anything about we're living in a dream or the Matrix or anything like that, then that totally puts the control within yourself. And then we have choices.
We do. Well, all of it is. And it's like even you were saying gratitude, because I'm thinking while you were saying that stuff, even the stuff when we go through it that doesn't feel good, it's thank you. Because if it didn't feel bad, we wouldn't recognize it. We wouldn't stop and look at it. We'd still carry it around with us. We'd still have that as a layer of mud laying on us or something, a layer of dirt. I don't know, because it kind of feels a little bit heavy. It doesn't feel light and fluffy. And so it's thinking that too. It's thinking all those moments because I don't want to walk through the life carrying all that stuff still. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't even make sense that I've carried it for as long as I have. Honestly. But I didn't know until I knew.
Yeah.
So it's just part of the process.
Yeah. And an added piece to the story about my stepdad, it comes down to if things are not in alignment and working well and organized and working out in an orderly fashion, then that's a reflection on me because I didn't do a good enough job. And if I don't do a good enough job, now I'm not loved or accepted or I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Right. And are any of those three things true? No. My boss knows I'm doing the best I can. She knows I'm overloaded. She knows that I will do what I can with the time and energy I have to get it done. She knows that people are interrupting that process by their wants, needs, and desires that creates us to feel unorganized and out of sorts. Like She's still gonna accept me. Everything's gonna be okay. I know she loves me. It's like, yeah, and that's my boss, right? It's like to say that is easy to say because we have a great relationship and we're both blessed to be in each other's lives and helping each other in this time at this time. And so, and even so, it doesn't matter if she or anybody else outside of me loves me or accepts me or not. So it's a matter of do I love me and do I accept me? And do I honestly and truthfully believe that I am doing the best I can at my job with what I have? Yes. And that is what matters. And so when I take that in and focus on that, people can say and do whatever they want because they're going to do it anyways. I can't stop that, nor can you, nor can anybody else. They are going to do and say anything they want, when they want, how they want. That's a reflection of them. It's not a reflection of me. They're not sitting at my desk going through what I'm going through to be in charge of this project and have an understanding of every detail that is involved with it. So it's like when I take that off of me, that pressure, that responsibility, or those sensations, not feeling loved, accepted, or and that I'm going to get in trouble. Now everything's easy, right? Now I can take a breath and be like, okay, well, we're just gonna keep putting one foot in front of the other and get this done the best way we can and see how it shows, see how it works out, whatever.
Yeah.
Now we're stepping into that sense of freedom, like you were talking about at the beginning.
Yeah.
Now that sense of freedom comes because now I'm feeling more relaxed about it.
Yeah. It's that easy to just walk through another thing. And it's remembering to be our own cheerleader. I wrote that down a little while ago. And then you talked about all this stuff. Basically, it's the same thing. It's like you said, loving and accepting of self. It's being your own cheerleader. It's not being. It's taking your power back. That is taking your power back. Everything that we've talked about, I feel like, is has been. It's taking power back. It's taking responsibility back. It's taking. That's where our control is. It's not the controlling of the things that are outside of us. It's the maybe not even so much controlling inside, but it's more an awareness. It is control in a lot of ways because we're navigating our own way. We're creating our own path instead of us throwing our energy at things that make us feel unhappy.
Yeah. All right, friends. Well, you got things to do. First of all, recognize what you're focused on. Let's put it there. Um, and if you are feeling those heavy emotions and things that, where like Bev was talking about, I do this too. And I shared that today. Where is this really coming from? Because it's not the person or situation that's in front of you. It is stirring up something that happened most likely in your childhood and don't worry about if you don't can't pinpoint what exactly it was. Maybe other situations or experiences that may have been similar to whatever you are experiencing right now, and just start clearing that energy and soothing and loving and yourself through the process of um, maybe changing the perspective of that experience years ago, because what we have and guaranteed on a regular basis is that whatever is sitting within us, good, bad, or indifferent, it similar situations are going to keep showing up, different name, different faces, until we sit with it and recognize, oh, they remind me of my stepdad, or they remind me of this situation, or they remind me of, and start clearing that energy up. Then your environment starts to shift and change. Um, and hoping that, right, that it's shifting and changing in a better direction when you're clearing that stuff up. So, do you have any final words, Bev, about any of that?
Yeah, it really depends on you. It's this is your journey. It's not just yours, ours. It's all of ours. It all starts with you. No one else can do it for us. We have to do it's our journey.
Yeah. And that's the suck part, and it's the amazing part. Nobody can do it for you. That
That's
statement
right.
alone, right? Like I go back
Yeah.
to saying it's easy to blame everybody else. No, it isn't, because now you're giving them the power and you're taking the power out of your hands. So,
Yes.
um, It's your responsibility.
It really is.
So I'm the person who has to change in this situation of this irritation and frustration. That's on me because nobody else is going to change. They're going to keep doing what they're doing, how they're doing it, and I have no control over that, but I have control over me. And so that's the point is do the things and change the things within yourself that you have control over. Because even though you think you have control over other people, I will tell you, you are wrong. Even a 2 year old, you do not have control over. Just saying.
And thankfully, because I don't want people to mold to me, because that doesn't promote my growth. That just enables me or makes me codependent on something to change outside of myself
Yeah.
that I think I have an influence over that I don't.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
All right, friends. Thanks for hanging out with us. Tea Time with Amy and Bev. Be resourceful. Share the content of us or any other podcasters or teachers, speakers, influencers that you listen to that help give you I'm going to say, a positive impact on your life. Um, you can share us. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spreaker, Spotify, Podcast Addict, and YouTube. So you can find us in many platforms and share the content with other people who are having these conversations too. So, with that, we'll see you next time.
Bye.